Today we're doing the 2025 room tour of the Marvel Man Cave, so let's assemble and get started.
Welcome back, sir. All systems for gaming will be prepared in a few minutes. For now, feel free to grab a cup of coffee and have a good day.
So I'm starting the tour walking down into the basement. The first thing you'll notice is probably we have a lot of we call them our friends that we just kind of use to line the stairs just to give it a little bit of a different look. And then I have this series of art prints by Dan Doherty. They're called Pile of Poo, and obviously he's got one for the Avengers, and then we have Guardians of the Galaxy, the X-Men, and I'll show you the other one, but we have a little bit harder to see. My wife loves doing puzzles, and a couple years ago she did this Miles Morales Spider-Man puzzle, so I put it on here with the 3M Velcro strips, and then I switch it out because I have a Christmas one that she did for me, so I swap it out every year, and it's just like in a cheaper frame, so if it falls it's not that big a deal, and she has it taped together. But continuing down the stairs with the other Dan Doherty print, it's the Spider-Verse version of Pile of Poo. And then I have this is a Mark Brooks print that I got at C2E2 this year. Also autographed by Mark, as most of the Dan ones are autographed by Dan as well. So I got this at C2E2 this year. And then this is a 3D print that I got off Etsy a few years ago. I cannot remember the buyer, and I actually think the last time I went to look to see if I could buy it again, and that shop seems to no longer be around. But this has been a really nice piece. I think you can find other versions, but this one is really nice. It was meant to mimic the Avengers A that you see at Avengers Campus at Disneyland. So going down the stairs, first we'll give you a look. So I have a bunch of the stuffed animals. Obviously you have Cosmo, Groot, Rocket, and drawing a blank on his name from Shang-Chi at the moment. But then a lot of just like stuffed animals and stuff that we've gotten over the years. Just collected, we just put them at the stairs just to kind of decorate the stairs since you don't already need all the space. So there's that. This I got from Cheers in Boston the first time I ever visited Boston. So I decided to put that up here. And then a bit of an unfinished project, but we put this in with the IKEA cabinets. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. And then the top, we did this over the holidays. And then just this week, I started putting these peel and stick backsplash, which are really nice, but ended up one short. So I got to go back to a Home Depot that still has these in stock. So I bought the last 9 that they had. So I had no way to finish this. So I got to finish that one part. But I love a good scotch. So I have all my scotches that I have there. Then I got the Wolverine, the Aviation Gins, and then Cheers was one of my favorite shows that I watched with my dad as a kid. So, had to get Norm and Cliff Funko Pops to put by the bar. Obviously goes with the Cheers design. And then the popcorn popper we found at the flea market a few weeks ago. And we like the nostalgia part. It's just an air popper. It's nothing fancy, but we like the look, and it's fun to make popcorn in there. And then these my wife got me from Burlington Coat Factory at a discount. But if you turn, also put up a few of these things. So this is another difference from last year's video. We found this sign at the flea market last summer, kind of towards the end of the summer, and decided to get that and put it up. So that's been a really nice addition to the cave. And this is another thing that's new. I found a guy on Etsy. He was do this, and because when I got my Sonos speakers that allowed me to do Dolby Atmos, or at least mimic it close enough that I'm going to be able to, I wanted to get that just to add something to the cave. And then I pulled my Tron poster. This we found when we were walking around the city one day, and we stopped in this art store, and they had this Tron poster, and I had to have it. I love the movie Tron. I love Legacy. So I had to have this. So I'd been storing it away, decided to go ahead and put it up. And then, sorry about the glare here, but this is a relic. Let's see if I can turn the light. Nope, that's probably worse. Um, this is a project I finished a few weeks ago. So I had this print. See if you can see. You can kind of see it there a little bit of the bride. I actually cut that out when I worked at the movie theater years and years ago. We had a problem with the print and I had to cut a slice out. So I cut this slice out and I always just held on to it. I figured why not? It was one of my favorite movies at the time, still is. So I just had to go ahead and get that. And then I went on eBay and found an 8x10 print so I could kind of add to it. And then I just went to Michael's and got the frame and had the mat made to accommodate both of those. So I really enjoy this. This was just literally sitting in storage for the longest time, so it's nice to actually finally have it out and be able to display it a little bit. And then you can ignore all the mess, but we added this. My wife found this little tin, I don't even know where, a few weeks ago. And then my wife and I ran the Hawaii Marathon. And then on the trip after we finished the race, we went to Kualoa Ranch where they film a lot of movies and TV shows. Obviously, Lost was filmed there, parts of Jurassic Park, parts of Kong Skull Island, and there's going to be countless movies, but we got our picture taken. Gorgeous place, but fun for me because it's movie related. There's a lot of movie and TV shows that are filmed there. And this is the same as last year, other than last year I had that as white, so I redid that to make it a little bit better. So this is just a shower curtain my wife got me that I just use as a curtain. And I added these two guys. These are voodoo dolls. We went to New Orleans last summer, and one of the vendors that we were checking out at it wasn't a flea market, but it was kind of their just market that they had set up. They were obviously selling voodoo dolls, and they had these two, so picked those up. And a lot of this is the same. I don't have the gate anymore. We don't. The cat is no longer with us, so we don't have the gate. Um, but we have this move this Venom poster or picture that we got from I forget where we picked that up from, where my wife picked it up from. And so this is my Venom collection. I've pared it down quite a bit over the years, but I've kept the ones that are my favorites. So you can kind of see all the Venom stuff, mostly just Funko Pops, and then the two Endgame stuff are here just because it's overflow from here. And all this stuff is up here. I was lining up. I have a project in mind with all my Disney Infinity characters that I have. And then there's a few more that I want to get. I'm still missing Vision and Loki and Ronan. So there's a few that I'm missing that I want to get, but I'm kind of trying to just organize them because I have a project in mind that I want to do so I can display them better. And just trying to get an idea of how they're going to look and everything as they're kind of stacked side by side, because obviously some of these guys are big and chunky, so trying to figure out the spacing and how I want characters to go together, because when I do the project, that's going to matter. So again, just an update on my pin board. Obviously since last year, quite a few more pins. We've been to a number of places. I don't pick up a ton of pins when I go places. It's not the item that I collect the most, but we pick up a lot of pins. And I was part of the the collector core stuff from Amazon. So like I would get a pin. I think like a lot of these head pins came through those. So I would get those, but obviously since that's not around anymore, don't really get those. So usually I just pick up a pin when we go somewhere, things like that, just to add to the collection. But this isn't growing that fast, which is honestly probably a good thing. This is all the pins that I have. And then before we get to the comics, this is my Avengers Endgame basically shelf. So I have, really hasn't changed since the last video. It's all the Avengers Endgames pops. They're all the ones that I want. I don't have all of them like the chrome ones and stuff like that, but I have all the ones that I want. We're going to move to the comics because that's pretty much stayed the same. I think some of the comics are probably a little bit different than they were displayed last year. I don't display them in grade order or anything like that until I get kind of towards the end. I do keep all my autographed ones together. That's kind of the goal. Is eventually, I think I would like to just have this whole wall just be ones that have been signed, and have the gold label. This is another Mark Brooks print I got at C2E2 2 years ago, not this past year, but the year before. And then two Art Adams covers that I had signed. I love these comics. This comic is one of the ones that I just remembered for years and years, and I have the comic and then saw he was coming and had them both. I have multiple copies of each of these, but got them signed. And then I think all the other ones are the same as last year. Humberto Ramos, the timeless cover. Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman with Venom. Jim Lee with Wolverine. That might be new. Spider-Man, the first appearance of Spider-Boy. This is signed by Humberto Ramos. And then a Fantastic Four cover signed by Dan Slott. And then some Spider-Man comics. And then we go into Captain America. I have a few more slab comics, but these are the ones that I think I enjoy the most, or I like to cover the most. So I keep these out. I'm waiting on a few more to come back, so I'm going to have some more that I'll have to kind of figure out the spacing. These are just the IKEA. I can't remember the name of them. I think it starts with an M. I'll put the link in the description below for what these shelves are. But they're, I believe, the 24-inch for most of them, and then the whatever the smaller one for that. But then they're just lined up, and they're just about perfect because they have a little bit of a ledge. They're meant for putting picture frames, but you can kind of see there's a little bit of a ledge in there. So these slide in there very nicely. That way they can all line up. You can kind of see they're all perfect, all very nice, and it's very easy to dust whenever you go because you just run something in the middle there and it's good. Moving on to, I would say probably the newer part of the collection is the shelves were here, but the way I'm using them is way different. So these are now all movies, and I would say probably some related collectibles. So I've been doing my Disney shelf here. We picked up, my wife and I found this at the flea market a few weeks ago, and then because I had copper, I had to find Todd. So I found Todd on eBay for about $15 and picked Todd up. So that's a pack of with copper in the movie in the box. I did a few little repairs on the box to bring it back to life a little bit, but this is just one of those things. Fox and the Hound is probably my favorite Disney movie of all time. And then you can see the other movies that I have. And right now it's just all the Disney and Pixar films. Obviously the Wanda and Vision, I did a video on that before. I found that at the flea market. It's just sitting there because I don't know where else to put it. And then the Pixar ball that I got from D23 last year. Then more Pixar movies. And right now this shelf is just movies that I'm waiting to do a video on. And we'll get there eventually. And then the bottom shelf, these are all my DVDs. So these are just the movies that I have just on DVD right now. And then moving on, these are all my Blu-rays. Pan a little bit so everybody can take a look. If you want to see which ones I have, you can pause the video. If you'd like me to go through and kind of show my entire collection, I'd be happy to. And then go from there. And then these are kind of where the TV series starts. So the bottom shelf, I have this Jurassic Park VHS. I actually found that at the thrift store a few weeks ago, and it was pretty good condition. And if you saw my last haul video, I picked up Swingers on VHS, so I bought a couple of the protectors and figured, I was like, well, I have 9 more that I need to use, so I'll pick up maybe a few VHS just to display and collect. Jurassic Park is a big one. I probably would try to find Batman 1989 if I can. So these are all the TV series, just kind of with those. Honestly, why I split these onto a different shelf, I'm not 100% sure. So I think we're going to continue on this wall, and then we'll circle back around. I cannot remember, when last year's video, I remember saying I was interested in painting this door, but I wasn't sure if I got around to it. Obviously, I got around to it. I'm carrying it over from the other door, which was in last year's video, and this Hulk sitting on the toilet picture, still the same one, still makes me laugh. But yeah, I painted the door, and the whole, I would say, of the entirety of the Marvel Man Cave is inspired a lot by Avengers Campus in Paris, including the the lights up here. I have a light strip, and obviously not very impressive during the day, but I will lay in some B-roll as I'm talking here of the way it looks when everything's all lit up at night. But I have these strips that run along here and then along there as well, and basically this lights up the room. And I was very much inspired by Avengers Campus in Paris, and so went with that route. I'm very happy with it. This is my, I just call it my Marvel Legends wall. Not everything in here is from like the Marvel Legends, the series of collectibles. I think most of them are, but the the Moon Knight, uh, the Moon Knight Dart and Scarab. That's from one of the same collectibles that does the this Black Panther with the kimono bead. I did a video on this. I picked it up from C2E2 a few years, or this past few months ago, this past year. And then the Star Lord gun is something I picked up from C2E2. A lot of the ways I have things mounted, like these are 3D printed. I for the TVA wand, I 3D printed stuff so that sits. I made this shelf to put the web shooters on. So I did some of this stuff myself just to make sure everything was displayed all right. But like the Loki scepter, we see the power orb, and there's a couple other things in here. I got to think for a second. I think the web shooters are obviously from Disneyland. So we have some of this stuff mixed in from like stuff that was from Disneyland, and then some of the Hasbro Legends, obviously the Ether and the Tesseract. The Tesseract, they do have a Marvel Legends version, but I ended up picking up the one from Disneyland because I like the way it worked better. And I'll show you a little bit more later. So this is the collection. Captain America shield I'm using right now from Winter Soldier, but I swap it out. I have the one from Falcon and Winter Soldier too, and obviously Mjolnir and Stormbreaker, and my one of my favorite Hulks, Gladiator Hulk, Nano Gauntlet, and then I did a video on these. This is the Disneyland arc reactor that I have, and then this is the Mark 50 that I took off the stand and decided to display it like that. It's another one that's made by the same company that does these, but I just like the way this displayed. I could not make a stand that I liked enough, so I just decided to mount it on the wall. And obviously the Infinity Gauntlet. And then coming down to here, again, I'll lay some B-roll up here, way these things look lit up, but I was going to talk about the Stonekeeper. I found that at the flea market last year, decided to pick him up, and added Red Skull holding the Tesseract that is a Marvel Legends item. So I talked last year about kind of wanting to fill these up a little bit more, and I did that for some of them. Put some of the other Doctor Strange stuff that I had into this one. And then this one's more or less the same. Still trying to figure out what I want to put in here, but did fill them up a little bit more. And you're probably looking at B-roll of the way this stuff looks when it's all lit up. My RoboVac, not impressive, but keeps the floor clean. And then this, same as last year, same door printing. So I don't know if I can get both doors. You can kind of get an idea of the way they look. I intentionally did them in the same style. Obviously wanted to do them different because I wanted to accommodate for the picture there. Still very happy with the door. And again, this is a 3D printed sign that I had made up for this purpose. Then pulling back, this is the couch. So again, more kind of stuffed animals. This is really more for my dog anymore because my dog will come down here and just kind of make her nest. So she loves laying on some of the bigger stuff. That's why Hulk is more than a bit flat, because she usually ends up just laying right on top of Hulk. So just kind of leave that out there. But this is some of the other stuff, and figure rather than kind of keeping it somewhere, might as well display this stuff out. Why not? Plus, it helps kind of with some sound deadening, because I have those metal disc plates along the back. I don't know if these are the same three that I had last year, but I usually obviously keep three up here year round. I got that Marvel pillow from New York Comic Con a few years ago. My It's Jeff plush that I picked up from Entertainment Earth when it came out, and my Captain America Xbox controller, and my Spider-Man 2 PlayStation 5 controller. So the speakers are new. So these are the Sonos Era 300s on either side. They also fire up. I can't tell you how much of a difference it made. Whenever I put these in, I watched the movie Gravity at least twice in a row just because it was such an amazing movie to begin with. But then the way it sounds on these speakers with everything else, mwah, chef's kiss. It was amazing. This side is, again, mostly the same. I think I did add an actual shelf to this. See if I can get in here without setting my home automation off. I did add a shelf so the movies aren't sitting on top of each other anymore. Ironically, I'm getting ready to redo this whole section. So I have my non-MCU movies over here. These are all my MCU movies, obviously, but I'm putting all my non-MCU movies over here just for right now because I'm getting ready to redo this whole thing. I really want to make it so this, instead of being a half and half, is an entire box. So that would allow me to put one shelf across the entire length, get a little bit more movies. I also want to increase the height so it's level with the window sill, which will give me a little bit more room. As you can see, I kind of have some stuff stored here. And I have these little things like the coins and some other odds and end collectibles that I want to put over here. And it won't be enough space to add another steelbook or movie, but I can have another little shelf to just display some items. So I have these up here just for now, just to kind of obviously move them from other spots. But this is all kind of placeholder for the moment. And then another thing I realized why I want to rebuild this is I'm losing some space here because obviously this is nothing but a huge gap. And when I originally built this, I had my subwoofer that was in here. That was part of the reason I had built this. But I moved my subwoofer to right behind the couch. And I realized, like, well, when I'm building this, I could put a shelf in, or a drawer in here that would give me a little bit more storage space, some, uh, and utilize that space a lot better. So that'll be an upcoming video when I kind of rebuild this. I'm still kind of working on some of the details and what I have. I'm going to integrate the lighting in it a lot better than it is now, but keep a lookout on for the future for that. And then same curtains, went with the octagon theme for dimension travel in the MCU. And then this is my Spider-Man collection. We have various things. I have added that since last year. I got this from C2E2, one of the mini co's. Funko Pops, obviously the Goblin Bomb, which was a Hasbro Legend item as well. It is quite fun. This is getting in. My wife bought me the tiki mug last year or so and moved some stuff in. It's got quite deep. And then there's the same backpack from the year before. And then obviously my Spider-Man Funkos that I have. And then we're getting in my Captain America collection. This is new. I did a video on this from, I think it's from Iron Studios, but I got it from Sideshow. Todd McFarlane, Captain America. And again, I'll add some B-roll and stuff to the way things look when it's lit up, because these are all lit up. You can see some of the LED lights. It's really a lot of fun sitting in here when everything's all lit up and everything looks good. This is my newer TV. I can't remember if this is the same TV I had last year, but I have the screensaver running. If anybody's interested in the video on how I get these movie posters to run on my Apple TV, I'm happy to do that. It's pretty easy because it's just creating an album, but I know not everybody might be familiar with how to do it and how I crop them to get that to work. But I really enjoy this. I add a new movie poster whenever one of their new movies comes out. I have the MCU and all the Disney Plus stuff there. Same speaker as last year, same two bookends. My Xbox with the Venom skin then a few Marvel games that I have that are in Steelbook, and then kind of my overflow of Marvel movies. I did the video on kind of the bonus ones, and then some of the books that I have, a couple art books and stuff like that on the MCU. Now moving on to the Iron Man collection. It's a lot of the same stuff, but I reorganized it a little bit. I obviously moved the helmet over to here. There's probably a few things I picked up since last year. Got the, I think it's called the Mega Emoji Iron Man. If you want me to call any of these things out, if you have questions about any of them, please let me know in the comments below. But some of these I went over in last year's video, and for those of you who watched last year, I don't want to reiterate the same thing. Picked this up as just kind of a dog tag that came, I forget what it came with. I think it came with a bunch of pack of cards that I picked up for cheap at the flea market and came with that. So really haven't done anything with it, but just kind of sitting there. And then this is the other arc reactor. This is the one that my sister-in-law got me. And then obviously one of the DLX. This is really cool because it's plastic, but you can tell it's much better plastic. And I got to get better at posing because it's obviously got the flight stand. Then we got my Moon Knight collection. This is new since last year. It's a 3D print I found on printables. So I printed it out. Came out pretty good. And then I did some weathering and dirtied it up a little bit. I don't know if it comes through well on camera. We kind of made some stuff because I wanted it to look like it was made out of stone and a little bit dirty, like it was old. And then I pulled this out of, I got 2-pack of the Moon Knight cards, and I got the autographed Oscar Isaac. Only came back a 6, but I think the autograph came back. Let's see. Forget. Autograph comes back at a 10, so that's good. And then I printed out the stand for it, but that's the card. It was just funny that they had 2 packs left. I bought 2, and that was one of the ones I pulled out. And then a lot of my Wolverine stuff. So I tried to organize it by suits. So I kept all the yellow suits together, and then the browns and the kind of was other ones because we got the Wolverine and obviously the couple different ones. So don't have as many brown suit Wolverines as I do yellow. And then this is where my Fantastic Four collection moved to. I'm sure this is going to get updated because with the new movie coming out, I'm looking forward to some new stuff. I found the Johnny Storm Marvel Legend at C2E2, that 4 popcorn bucket my wife found at the flea market for $0.25. I picked up the Thing Marvel Legend, and then we got Fantastic Car and one of the Hot Wheels of Johnny Storm, and then the Fantastic Four motorcycle that's obviously meant to be the Thing, and obviously there's a pin in it, so there was a figure. And then the Venomized versions of those, and Galactus. Show you what this looks like when everything's all lit up. Moving over, last year that space was empty, so I added a new displate. Every year when you're in the displate club, you get a new one each year of whatever version that you initially bought. So I made sure I bought one of the large ones initially, so I get a free large one every year. It's like $4.99 a month, so I think it's a pretty good deal. And I usually end up buying at least one throughout the year, depending. But I got the Avengers this year, and then I have another one that is going to be a holiday one because I always wanted to put holiday stuff in this section, and I will this year. In my Guardians Lego, been here since last year, and then my Avengers Tower candle, and then the box that I can't pronounce from Spider-Man No Way Home. And then I did a whole video on the helmets, so mostly includes some B-roll here so you can see what it looks like lit up. But I obviously added these since the last video. Really looking forward to the Doctor Doom one coming out soon. And then moved a lot of this, so put my X-Jet and the Dragon Flyer together. Still have the Avengers Quinjet, but I will say something that's new since last year is this LED strip that's here. Obviously it's the same as it is over there. It's harder to see, at least it is on for me on the camera, because I intentionally painted them the same color as the ceiling so they blended in. But last year I was using those kind of puck lights that angled, and they ate batteries so much. So I eventually just decided, I was like, I'm going to get rid of those and I'm going to do this strip light. And it's so much nicer. Stuff up here gets lit really well. I really enjoy it. It's really nice to be able to see when I'm sitting on the couch. And then I would say this is still, I'm really not sure what to do with this calyx yet. Obviously, this is sitting here blocking most of it because I just put it somewhere. I'm just going to put it somewhere else right now. But most of these, the Falcon and Winter Soldier is pretty much the same. I've thinned out a little bit of my Thor collection. I have added some of these, I forgot to point it out, but these are the spider bots from Disneyland, and they made them so they came as different characters. So I have the Thor one, and I have the Captain America one. And there's the Black Panther collection. And then this is funny, I finally bought the Moon Knight Loungefly. It is the one and only Loungefly I have. This is one of those, when it came out, I think it came out in New York Comic Con. That would have been 2023. I was not going to pay for it, but patience sometimes pays off, because I ended up buying this at $25 because they went on clearance, and I think I had a coupon or something. So I waited long enough. It actually came through, and I'm pretty happy with it. So that's just sitting there as a display item. And then I thinned out some of my Lokis, and there's my Captain Carters and stuff like that. And then obviously I have the Captain Marvel. I think that's the chase for the Spider Bot. And then these two shelves are really just overflow. It's some of my Fantastic Four pops. It used to be over where the Blu-rays are, but I moved them for space. And then this is really here because it's hiding a power outlet. So that just sits there to hide the power outlet, and I put my two Gladiator Hulks there. If you saw any of my more recent videos, you'll recognize this section. This is the two Billy bookcases that I modified to fit this space. So I'm going to forget the dimensions off the top of my head, but I think this space is like 74 inches tall, but the Billy bookcases are like 79 inches, somewhere in that range. So I had to trim these to fit this space so I could actually make them so they're okay. So like a lot of the things, the top shelf is just, it's just here for right now. I don't really have a plan with it right now. It's a lot of the overflow. I had a lot of my non-MCU movies that was there, and then when I moved them over there, I didn't know what to do with this, so I was kind of moving a bunch of stuff around, so that's there. But then I decided I wanted to put a lot of some of my favorite sci-fi stuff here for right now. So obviously Star Wars. This is my R2-D2. It's the company's now, I don't want to say they're defunct. I don't think they don't make these anymore, but it's by droids by a company called Sphero. It's an app controlled robot, so he makes noise and everything. I'll actually lay some B-roll. So 3, 2, 1. So you can see it's really cool whenever he's moving and doing things and stuff like that. It's only controlled with an app, and that app you can't download anymore. So I have to keep this phone because otherwise I'm not going to be able to control him anymore. And then actually today I have a stand coming. This was the uh, forget the Micro Squadron from either Hot Wheels or Mattel, and I have a stand coming so I can put him in the X-wing in flight mode, because the X-wing is my favorite ship from the Star Wars universe. But then I got this one because I also love the Snow Speeder, so I got that, and the X-wing version of this is I can't find, so I'm not worried about it. And then my Tron stuff, so I have Tron Funko Pop. He's glow in the dark. And then I did a video on this with the new Tron, not new, but the Tron Legacy. It comes with the original Tron. This lights up, that lights up like the Identity Disc. And I have the two movies. And then my wife got me the Flynn's arcade coins from Disney World when the Tron ride opened up, which I still have not gotten to ride, but I have the coins. And then right now I just have these three figures on display. Obviously this section was left, I could have added another shelf, but the Venom's big, so I intentionally left that, and I thought it looked really nice to just have kind of a display item in the Billy. And this is my collection of 4Ks, and I'll pan everything over. If anybody wants me to go through my collection, I'm happy to, but you can pause the video and check everything out. I do my monthly movie hauls. And then, as I mentioned in one of my reorganization ones, I brought out my Bad Motherfucker wallet.
It's the one that says bad motherfucker.
From Pulp Fiction. And then the bottom two shelves are empty for right now. These are all my Steelbooks. So obviously I have my Back to the Future and then the Crow, the one and only Crow. There will obviously only ever be one Crow that counts anymore. So I have that. I have a couple Funko Pops. I'm just going to try to figure out how I want to go. But then obviously the DeLorean from Back to the Future, more Steelbooks, and then the Jeep from Jurassic World. I think I got the DeLorean, the Jeep, and then the Ghostbusters car. All they're from Jada Toys. They have a Hollywood Rides line. And from my understanding, they're supposed to be making the original Ford Explorer from Jurassic Park. So I would definitely keep an eye on and looking for that. And there's a couple other cars I would really like to get. I would like to get John Wick's car, his Ford Mustang from the first movie. I would love the A-Team truck, but I don't think I'm going to find it because I've been on the lookout for a while. And then I would like the Pussy Wagon from Kill Bill. But I have not seen that either. I don't think that they have the license for that. More Steelbooks. And obviously my last two Steelbooks. And then I did a video on the Swingers VHS that I got a few weeks ago. A couple more cars. That's from Disneyland. And then these are my, say, horror and Halloween. I'm not a big horror movie person. And then a couple books. Obviously, I do love Stephen King. So it's kind of ironic that I'm not a big horror movie person, but I do love Stephen King. This is my desk. I work from home one day a week. So it's nice to have a place to kind of hang out and still have all my Marvel stuff. So these are a lot of the, I guess they're the technically challenge coins, but I buy them as a display of places we've been, places I've visited worth remembering. A lot of this is the same as last year's video. I think the Mega Emoji, the Infinity Gauntlet thumbs up, also does thumbs down. These are all the same. The die-cast ships that you can get from Disneyland in California. Maybe I'll get them someplace else now, but all the ships. And then honestly, just desk stuff. I got one of the journals or just notebooks from Disney World. And then I don't think I showed this off last year, but the company is called Drop. They do themed one. I think Lord of the Rings is the license they have right now, or they promote, but they used to do the Marvel ones. And I have every version. So I have this, I have Captain America, Black Panther, Spider-Man, and I'm forgetting one. I have an Iron Man one that I got during the pandemic off Etsy, but these are really nice. They're really thick mats, and it's just nice to have this as a kind of display item on the shelf. Some pictures of my family. And then I did a video on these, the stanchions that I 3D printed, designed in 3D printed, that hold my desk up. Just an IKEA desk. And some more just other like knickknacks that I've picked up. The Scarlet Witch, Corksicle, water bottle. Obviously just other stuff. This I 3D printed from a design. It's designed for the, or after the trash cans in Disney World and Disneyland. My wife's still got to print one more side because we forgot we needed two of these. But I printed that, painted it, and then she did the stickers on her Cricut, and then we put those. So it's just kind of a fun little thing. And right now, I didn't design a box to put in. Right now, it's just a rock. It's just to keep it from weighted, but I can put stuff in it, and it's tight fit. And then my Pimm's beakers. These usually come with drinks, but I bought them on eBay for pretty cheap just to have the display. I have the other ones somewhere else. Then my picture wall. So these are all autographed. Same as last year, except for this one. I had the Rob Liefeld Deadpool in here last year, but when I had met Mark Brooks last year, I got his print of this Wolverine and had him sign it. Then we have the Humberto Ramos Spider-Man, then Spider-Boy signed by Dan and Humberto, Winged Venom by Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman, and then the Dark Ages Spider-Man signed by Ryan Stegman. We're done. I'll give you kind of the overview of everything, but that's the grand tour of the Marble Man Cave June 2025 edition. A lot of changes, I would say, since last year. Some things stayed the same, some things are different. But I'm going to stop talking right now because I want to show you what all this looks like with all the ambient lights on. But that's the grand tour of the Marble Man Cave for June 2025. Please let me know in the comments what you thought. Like, what do you think of last year's version versus this year's version? What do you think of the upgrades, the Billy Bookcase? Again, there are links for all the videos where I walk through how I cut these down and lit them will be in the description below, along with any other pertinent links that I mentioned as I was walking through the video. But thank you everybody so much for watching this far into the video. I cannot express how much I appreciate it. And if you're still here, please give me that thumbs up. If you're new to the channel or you haven't yet, please hit subscribe. It really helps out the channel. I'm really hoping to get to 100 subscribers by the end of June. I still would blow my mind if I can do that, but I would really appreciate it. But for now, hope everybody has a wonderful day. And don't forget, collect what you love.